So there's a guy running for the U.S. Senate in Virginia. I'm going to say his name, and I want you to promise not to laugh. Okay? Don't laugh. Don't laugh. A guy running for U.S. Senate in the state of Virginia whose name is Hung Cow. So, some video clips of his popped up on my feed. I wanted to share them with you. And this guy may be one of the most out there, one of the weirdest of the Republicans running. And of course, that's a tough list to be on top of, isn't it? There's a lot of weirdos and freaks out there that are running as Republicans. So Right Wing Watch got this clip here. Listen to what he says was like an inspiration for him to run.
Tell me about Virginia. Tell me about your experience. What do you see God doing? And then let's get into, obviously, your amazing announcement, which we're pumped about.
Well, the last 3 statewide elections were won by Republicans, right? The governor, the lieutenant governor, and the attorney general, all Republicans.
And Winsome Sears is a gangster.
Yes, she is. And she's
we love her.
Great woman of God. I mean, honestly, she's always texting me prayers, and then we pray back and forth, and she's amazing. And so, again, it's, we can't let it turn like this. There's a place in Monterey, California called Lovers Point.
Yeah.
The original name was Lovers of Christ Point, but now it's become, they took out the Christ, it's Lovers Point, and it's really, Monterey is a very dark place now.
Yeah.
A lot of witchcraft and the Wiccan community has really taken over there. And we can't let that happen in Virginia. Virginia is, I mean, especially down in Roanoke, they're God-loving people.
Right.
Richmond too, and Virginia Beach, and we just need to mobilize Christians across the nation.
So he's running because he's afraid that witchcraft is going to take over Virginia, and he wants to stop that and make it so that, the Christians are in control. So he's running for explicitly and overtly Christian fundamentalist themes. Imagine looking at all the problems we have in the world today, and that's your takeaway? The witchcraft is coming. The witchcraft is coming. What the fuck? What are we living in, Game of Thrones? Is that where you think you are? Are you afraid of like dragon blood magic coming? Are you afraid of the Lord of Light? Like, what are you talking about? All the real problems, bro. All the real problems. Shouldn't you be focusing on like, hey, let's get free breakfast and free lunch to the kids in school. Let's give a tax credit to the parents. Let's fix the roads. Right? No, it's the Wiccans, the witchcraft, bro. And the witchcraft. I gotta run for Senate and fix this. What a psychopath. What a psychopath. So this is as out there as it gets. This is why. This reminds me, what was her name? Christine O'Donnell, McDonald, something like that. Christine Donnelly, something like that. She ran and she had to do an ad at one point where she said, "I'm not a witch." And she ended up losing. She's a Republican weirdo, like during the Tea Party days. She ended up losing. This guy is like, "I'm running to stop the witches." Oh, God. Magic's not real. Oh, my God. What am I going to do? What am I going to do with these people? All right, but I got one more for you. So now you might look at this and say, I know none of you are actually saying this, but you might look at this and say, okay, so he's weird. He's got some like overtly super religious themes. He's afraid of witches. But hey, if that's the case and he also wants to like raise wages or give people health care, I can overlook the kookiness, the metaphysical bullshit for a guy who's going to give everybody health care. I can do that. All right, you ready for this? This is the other clip that popped up. Watch this.
We need incentives, right? So doctors will innovate and do things better just out of incentive. And that's where we want to be able to have choice for everybody to if you want to pay more, then pay more and get better health care. It's just the way it is. But no one in the United States is like, oh my gosh, I will die if I don't have health care.
Nobody in the United States is like, I will die if I don't have health care. Bitch, what? What? First of all, medical bills are the number one cause of bankruptcy in this country. That's the first point. The second point is 45,000 to 68,000 people die every year because they don't have basic health care. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? There was a study that came out the other day which said, remember, as part of Obamacare, they had a Medicaid expansion. The states are all supposed to expand Medicaid to cover more people. And then it went to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court struck down that provision and said the states have to opt into the Medicaid expansion. So naturally what happened is most of the Republican states said, we're not going to do the Medicaid expansion. We're opting out of it. So they opted out of the Medicaid expansion. So they didn't get more, federal tax dollars to help fund healthcare for poor people. And as a direct result of opting out of Medicaid expansion, a lot of the hospitals went belly up, and rural hospitals were shutting down all across the country in red states, right? Then low information voters saw these hospitals shutting down, and they blamed Obamacare for having the hospital shut down. No. The reason the hospital shut down is because they rejected Obamacare. They didn't want to do the Medicaid expansion. And the Republicans that run those states put their middle finger up to giving health care to the poor people in their state. And so the end result, of course, is more people ended up dying because they didn't have access to health care. So here's a fucking moron telling you nobody ever died in this country because they don't have health care. It happens all the time. All the time. We are the only developed country on the planet that doesn't have healthcare for everybody. It was like 1 in 4 Americans has medical bills. Like I said, medical bills are the number one cause of bankruptcy. Like, these are all serious problems. A good policy proposal is to wipe out all the medical debt. That would be a phenomenal. Some blue state governors are doing that. But this guy's up there denying there's even a problem. We don't have any problem with the healthcare in this country. Everything's fine. I mean, nobody ever dies from not having healthcare. Up to 68,000 every single year. And Republican policies have led to that number going up and up and up and up. And while I have criticisms of the Democrats, Obamacare wasn't as good as a public option, and a public option wouldn't be as good as Medicare for all. At least there was some movement in the right direction to try to give people fucking healthcare. This guy's just like anti-healthcare because he's too worried about the witches. What am I going to do to these people? Look, I'll end on this note, and maybe this is a bold comment. I don't know. You tell me. Americans are not going to elect some motherfucker named Hung Cow. They are not going to elect some motherfucker named Hung Cow. I mean, the jokes write themselves, bro. The jokes write themselves. And what I'll say is this. This cow ain't very hung. That's what it looks like to me. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.